So nowadays, a lot of people have the feeling of actually being depressed or feeling sad, feeling worried, anxious. It's a very widespread dis-ease, I would say, that is very often encountered. So there are a few ways of how to deal with this situation. Of course, it will be very, very difficult if you're deeply, deeply caught up inside of your emotional or mental being. So then we have to even possibly rely on the help of medication for some people if it is very, very severe and so forth. Then that has its validity too. However, it should not become a permanent solution. It should always be a temporary solution. So with the help of someone who is skilled in dealing with emotions and thoughts and our mental makeup and so forth, it is very well possible to overcome these also very deeply seated anxieties and depressions and so forth. But in general, there is kind of two ways, I would say, of how to deal with these kind of emotions or states of being. Number one would be a form of action that we can take in a very real world, real life action, if you want to say so. So it means that we learn to be a little bit more outgoing and serve other beings with our presence a little bit. Well, this is a very, very helpful antidote to depression. It is going out and actually starting to do a job or work as a, a volunteer, maybe to help some poor people get food, or work in a soup kitchen, or help at your local church or temple or whatever it is, or mow the lawn of your neighbor if he needs the lawn to be mowed, whatever it is that is there to be done. Offer your service. It is also important here to offer your service for free here, not to get paid something, but to actually do work that benefits the community. There is so much that we can do once we go around through our village and have a look. There's much to clean up. There is lots of old people that need a lot of help very often, and so forth. And this will counteract this, I would even call it, obsession with me and my misery. What this is, depression is something like that. It is being obsessed with one's own misery, being very attached to this idea of poor me. The world weighs heavy on my shoulders. It's unbearable for me because I feel sad about this or that. This and that makes me sad. So if we dwell on such thoughts, that means we do have a lot of time to dwell on such thoughts also. So many people who are severely depressed also, they spend a lot of time actually marinating in their own depression. So they would also stay more often home from work. They're not going to work anymore. They just lock their door. They just lie down and hide under their blanket. Literally, some people, they can't get out of bed when they're depressed. They just become totally inert. They cannot move anymore. All the doing kind of fades out of them. All the life fades away while they are marinating in this poisonous brew of depression. Poor me, and me and my miserable feelings, like that. This can turn into a very real and big problem, not only for yourself, but also for the people around you. So in order to counteract that, we can start on a very easy realm, and this is the realm of taking action and actually getting out there, picking up something like exercise, do exercise, walk, go to a gym, socialize, get together with people who are uplifting in their nature, who are generously joyous and happy. It will color off. So this is one way of dealing with this. Getting together with people who are happy in their life, who have a purpose also. Very often when we are depressed, the sense of purpose goes out the window. And we feel we have no more purpose. Why am I alive? Why am I here? It's a very sad kind of reflection. Oh, there's nothing for me in this life. There's nothing left for me. I can't stand this anymore. It might even drive some people to suicide because they see there's no purpose in life. But there is a very powerful thing that we can do, and it is starting very slowly to make it your purpose to help, to be of service to other people. It's a very powerful antidote. It's a cause of happiness when you see that your presence actually is uplifting and helpful to others. It gives you a natural sense of purpose. That's why I really recommend it, to help in whatever way you can, and in whatever way you also feel skilled and confident to do something. There might be any field that comes to your mind, which is contributing to more love, warmth, kindness, compassion inside of yourself, also inside of others around you. So this is the first kind of way of how to deal with depression. So you change your lifestyle a little bit. Another thing is drop everything that kind of helps the depression to grow. That might be the excessive use of mobile phones, smartphones, excessive use of social media. All that can be a cause of depression. You might see, for example, some specific news over and over again on your news feed on Facebook. So you see these news of politics getting worse and worse. People feel more and more terrorized and unhappy. Here, there are people dying. Over here are people dying. There's explosions and bombs. There's not enough money. The rich get richer. The poor get poorer. The whole government is fake. The banks rule everyone. This and that is causing you cancer, etc. All that kind of stuff. You take a lot of this kind of, let me call it garbage. If you're feeding your eyes this garbage continuously, and it is dumped into your heart, it is dumped into your mind, and it is a breeding ground for depression. Most of the news we consume daily are a breeding ground for depression. Also sometimes the people that we surround ourselves with, they talk about how miserable they are, how they hate their job, how they hate their family, how they can't stand it to have children, they have no more free time. So it's a lot of complaining going on that also colors off. So we should make an effort to stay out of this, to recognize, aha, here and there in my life, I'm actually helping depression to grow by making these choices of spending my time here and there with these and that people together. I make choices which are actually helping the depression to grow. So here we need to make an effort to abandon those choices. Also something very important, I mentioned it shortly, is with whom are you staying together with? Are you staying together with uplifting, inspiring people who are practicing on a spiritual path, honestly, sincerely? Or are you spending time with a lot of broke people who are pretending to spend time on a spiritual path, but are actually deeply unhappy about their situation, and their spiritual path is more like a spiritual mask they are wearing. So make sure to watch out what in your life is causing you to think the way you think. Is now we come to the second part. The first part is this kind of, what actions do I take? And what do I abandon? And the second part would be to look at your inner makeup. How does your mind work? What kind of repetitive thoughts are constantly coming into your mind? You might think things like, the world is such a bad place. And then this thought then is followed by examples of how the world is a bad place. And you flip through them like you would flip through a photo album. And then this is bad, and then there are terrorists. And then we are fighting those terrorists, making them more strong as we fight them. And there's so many weapons in this world, and so much poverty, and so much imbalance. It's terrible. And then pictures run through your mind of hungry children, of abused animals, and so forth. And if that is very repetitive, well, this is the primary cause of your depression then. So we need to spot this at first. It is bring awareness into this. We notice, okay, here is a very repetitive thought pattern that causes me to feel a certain way. Sad, depressed, down, unmotivated, empty, alone, whatnot. Yeah, you need to find out what is it, what kind of thought pattern is there that is repeating itself, that makes me feel a certain way, because every thought pattern cultivates a certain feeling. So by bringing awareness into that, you're bringing choice into this. You are not anymore victimized by your mind, but you're now in a position where you start to see, the mind is doing this and that, and it results in this and that feeling. That's interesting. Now, what can I do to break through this cycle of repetitive thinking and feeling? Because a thought creates a feeling, and a feeling creates the next thought. It goes like around it. It's a vicious cycle. So how to break this vicious cycle? And this, by the way, can be anything. Not necessarily just only depression, but it can be anything. Anxiety. What will happen to me? Will I make it? Does she love me? Why is she not answering my mails? And then you feel like kind of dreadful. She's not answering my mails. And you feel not good about it. And then that feeling gives rise to the next thought. Maybe she doesn't like me. And then gives rise to the next feeling, it might be true. It feels really bad. I think she really doesn't like me. Maybe I should write her another mail, making sure that she's liking me or not. Are you okay? Did you receive my last mail? This kind of anxiety, and it kind of spins around and around. So our job is not to get rid of it, really. Our job is to become aware of it. Notice, there it is. This anxiety or this depression, and I can now see how it works and how it perpetuates itself. Thinking, feeling, feeling, thinking. Thinking, feeling, feeling, thinking. Now, as soon as you look at that process from an outside perspective, namely the perspective of awareness or mindfulness, then that pattern cannot repeat itself. It is fueled by your belief, by your investment. You want to get rid of this. You don't like to think like this. It is actually fueled by that. It's empowered by this. You have a lot of belief in these thoughts, like you would have a lot of belief in a very skilled actor. That skilled actor has a job, and the job of the actor is to make you believe something. Like, for example, that he is very sad. As soon as you believe it, you yourself become sad. So we need to remember that, wait a second, it's an actor. And the job of the actor is to make me believe something. So here is our way out. So we can see our mind and this kind of vicious cycle of thought and feeling as an actor that tries to make you believe that you are actually depressed. But in truth, you are here as awareness, not as a depressed person anymore. And that's a huge difference. That gives you a step back. It gives you the freedom of not being imprisoned by that feeling or that thought, or not being involved in it. It's a freedom, isn't it? You're free from your own thinking, and you're free from your own feeling. That's the whole idea of the Buddhist path, actually. To attain freedom from belief structures, freedom from thought, freedom from feelings. It does not mean getting rid of feelings and becoming like some kind of cold ice block that doesn't react to life anymore, but you are not imprisoned by your feelings anymore. You're not a prisoner of your own mind anymore, because you are seeing it from the outside. That's the goal of meditation practice. So we are trying to get out. At first it's a trying, it's kind of a struggling, until you see that actually it's not that complicated. All it requires is to become awake, aware to what goes on. There is a cat, and the cat does what a cat does. There is a feeling, and a feeling does what a feeling does. I just get out of its way. I let it do whatever it does. So in a way you can say we make friends with our mental makeup. You're not anymore here as the one that needs to get rid of, but you are here as the one that is open for it. Go ahead. Then think. Feel. I'm not in your way anymore. Do what you need to do. I look, I watch. I'm here as a witness to you. What then will happen is it will fade, because it is not fueled by your resistance anymore. It will fade. We are fueling our situation by resisting it or by chasing it and trying to make it more. That's what fuels it. Our interest, our attention is fueling it. So this is the meditation practice means we are stepping back. This is what we practice and cultivate, the art of stepping back. Not indifference, It's a warm, a kind space in which you are allowed to be the way you are, and in which the world is allowed to be the way it is. All right. So this is some food for contemplation, or food for reflection. I think this is also enough for today. There's no need to speak too much. It's important for us to do the practice and to cultivate these experiences within our own hearts. Instead of gathering too much information, we need to do the work and see for ourselves that freedom from suffering is actually possible.